So I don't think we pay enough attention to the yield curve. And it'll really tell you, it's a good indicator what may get ready to happen with the economy. So a normalized yield curve is simple. It's where your short-term rates are lower than long-term rates. The yield curve, and I talk a lot here on the show about the 10-year, and it's trying to break 3%. Well, the yield curve is flattened, where currently you're looking at short-term rates are almost the same as long-term rates. Now, what could get really scary is if we go into an inverted yield. And
Has that ever happened before?
Oh, yes, and that's gonna tell you the economy is not gonna grow like everyone predicted it was going to. And so, you know, we just had good earnings, but people are trying to think, what's the economy gonna do in the next 6 months? Well, if you've got short-term rates yielding higher than long-term rates, you're now in an inverted yield. And that's telling you, that's a red flag.
Yeah, that scares everybody to death, because the Fed, the market determines long rates. That's what the market does, because there's a market in bonds that's 3 or 4 times the size of the market in stocks. The Fed sets short-term rates, and typically if they get to a point that they say, things are, their job is to fight inflation. In other words, they walk a tightrope to try and keep the economy humming along at full employment, but they don't want it to get too hot. It's like, it's like the baby
porridge
bear,
and
the
the
porridge,
baby bear.
exactly. They want baby bear's porridge. They want it just right. They don't want the economy too hot, which would lead to inflation. They don't want it too cold, which leads to deflation or stagnation, or whatever you want to call it, a recession. But as they start to, if the Fed says, okay, we see some inflation creeping in and we're going to raise rates on the short end, but the market maybe disagrees, or it's not the same thing every time, and long rates kind of stay static, then that's when you actually get a flat yield curve, or an inverted yield curve.
So does